Hello, once again, you are welcome to the ITS tutorial for week 3. So for week 3, these are the topics that we are going to look at. Working with objects. Under working with objects, we are looking at using the Insert tab to select the following. 1. Under the table group, we are going to insert, draw, erase, delete, and split tables. So that is the first activity. So we open Microsoft Word. Then it says under the Insert tab, under the table group, under Insert, we are going to insert the following. So we select the Insert tab. Now when we select the Insert tab, we come the table group. So this is the table group. So we click on the arrow under it, in this case, or we click on the table to manage whatever it is that we want to do there. So let's find out how we go about that. So we can click on the drop down arrow under the table group, and then we're going to have this for us. So you can see that you can automatically insert a table if you want. So as I select the range, if I move right on, let's say 4 of them, I have on my table a table drawn for me, and as I come down, it increases the number of tables that I have. Okay, so when I click on any of this and the table is inserted, I can actually come to the side, drag down to open up the table, and then move it any way that I want to. Okay, so this is the table that I've inserted. So here we are going to manage our table and see what we can do. We can actually go for, as soon as I inserted the table, another column is added for me. That is the table design and layout. This is where I can manage my table from. So let's click on the layout here, not the layout at this side, the layout that we have here. So when I click on the layout, then I get all the features that I need from the table. So from here, I can choose the eraser tool by clicking on it and then erase a line. So you can see I've erased a line here. I can actually do that. I can erase any line that I want to. And if I don't want to, I just go back to the undo to undo the erasing that I did. So from here, you can do a whole lot of things. I can decide to split my table if I want, or let's pick them one after the other. From here, I have the delete column. So if I want the eraser tool to go, I press the escape key on the keyboard, then it releases the eraser off. So I can actually go to delete, let's say, put the cursor on top of it, select these tables, and then click on the delete. Now here, I have the options to delete a cell, to delete a column, and to delete a row. I'm sure by now you know what a row is, you know what a column is. So when we say column is from the top down, and then rows are actually horizontal. So the columns are the vertical. So when I select the whole thing and I go to delete, when I go for delete a column, it means I want to delete one of the columns. So click on it, it takes off all the columns. If I click horizontally and I go to delete a row, it takes the horizontal row off. So I can actually manage my tables. And then when you bring the arrow to the end of the table, the edge of it, there is a plus sign that opens up for you that you can click on to add more tables. So you can actually do this and then type into the tables. When I click there, I can type information into the table. So like, let's say boys, then girls. So I can actually type information into the table that I have or do anything that I want to do with this table. Okay, so let's try other things. Let's say I want to, you can actually check it and then go through a lot of things to do other things in there. Okay, so let's manage something else. So I select this cell and then I want to split the cell. So let's see the splitting. So when I click on split, it's asking me how many halves do I want to split the cell. So let's say number of columns. You know columns by now, their columns are horizontal. So when I pick 2 columns, the option here is 2. It's going to split this into 2 for me. So let me just set a column. So you see, after doing so, it has already done a splitting of the table for me, one here, one there. So if I select this table and I go to split again, and this time around I make the column 1 and I make the row 2, it's going to split it horizontally. So let's see, that's the splitting horizontally. I can actually draw into this table, click on the table and actually draw, use a pencil to divide this table into two or in any way that I wanted. So I can actually draw into the table when I pick the pencil tool from here. So we can manage our tables and then do so many things from this point. I can also split the table into two. I can split the table into two. So let's see how we go about that. So I go to split table. And then you can see that from where I selected, let me just go over that for you to see. Let me undo this. I decided to put a split here. So I click in there. And then from the layout tab, I went to split tables. When I did, it did the split of the table for me right there. You can see. I can actually type numbers like 15, 42, 10, and let's say 5, and decide to click here to actually add them for me. So I will then select the text. I have a formula, come to the data group, click on formula, and then I want to sum the numbers above. Sum the numbers above. Here, I don't need to do anything. Word has already inserted a formula equal to sum above. So it will sum the numbers above. Then I just click on OK. Then the total is put there for me. So it can just actually do your total for you when you're working with it. Another important feature, another table group, I can actually decide to add a table either to the right or above or below. So in doing so, I click at where I want to add the table. I click there, and then from there, I can add a table to what I have. Okay, so let's try that. So I click there and go to insert table, insert right. So I click it, insert a table at the right. I come down, select anywhere I want, and then I will go and add to my table again from here. So from here, as I click here, and I just go to my table format and then add a table below. So a table is added below. So I can through here manage all the things that I want to manage from my Word through tables. You can explore more from here. I can also decide to insert the number of tables I want by going to table group and go to insert table and click on it. And from here, decide the number of columns and cells that I need. So once you know the columns, as I told you, from the columns are vertical and then rows are horizontal, then I can decide to insert, let's say 5 or let's say 7 columns and then insert 4 rows. When I click on OK, it will now insert the number of columns and rows that I want for me. So you can actually go to insert, then from the table, you click on the drop down arrow and you select the number of columns. And then from here, I can actually select the tables. Instead of using the layout at this point, I go to design. I click on table design and I choose the format of the table that I want. So as I put the cursor on it, the format of the table will change. Then I can actually select any design that I want. Let me use the drop down arrow here to choose more design from the design that I have. So any of these designs I have, I can pick it up and it will apply it to the table that I have. So when I select the table and go to table design, I can choose the design that I want. So you can try so many things from the table point. Let's go to our next item from the topics that we are supposed to do today. So we have the next item to be under the same insert. We are going to illustrate illustration group and insert pictures and shapes and art. Okay, so let's go to the illustration group. From this same page, let me just go down a little so I can have a new page, the next page to insert. So from the same insert tab, then I look for illustration. Illustration is there here. So I can actually click on pictures as a command inside illustrations, and a drop down arrow will come. And from here, you have a picture on my computer, I'll say device. Then I have to go and look for it by clicking on it to go and look for that picture. Wherever the picture is, I pick it and I insert it. If the picture, however, is on the internet, I go online pictures And when I click on it and I'm connected to the internet, I can actually go online and pick pictures from online and insert them. So it takes me online and I can actually pick the picture that I want from online by clicking on it. And when the picture is ready, I'll select it and I go to insert. So it will insert the picture into my work. So you can pick a picture from online and insert it. This one, it says an error happened. Let me try and pick another picture and insert it. Insert. Okay, so when the process was completed, a picture that I selected has been inserted for me. So I can actually drag or move the mouse pointer to the edge of the picture and then drag it and make it smaller or increase it. I can also use this here to rotate the picture in any way that I want in the format so that I can manage this picture for myself. Let's continue from this point. Under the same insert tab, we go to illustrations, and this time around we insert shapes. Shapes are here. You click on the drop down arrow and the shape that you want, you select it. When you choose it, it becomes your mouse pointer and you click and you drag to open up the shape that you want. So you can actually select a shape from here, click and drag them. Okay, so let's look at this. For instance, I have inserted this shape. When the mouse pointer turns into a double arrow on the that's an arrow, 4-star arrow on the shape, I can actually move the shape to where I want. I can open it up and close it up. Now to do that, let's insert another shape and try something else. So let's say I'm inserting this shape. I click on it and I use it to draw. So I can actually group these tables together, these shapes together, so that when I want to drag these shapes, I'll be able to drag them together. Okay, because rather than when I want to drag them, I have to do it individually. I want a situation where I can drag the two shapes together. Okay, so what I have to do here is to click on the first shape and then press the control key down so that I can select the second shape. So the two shapes are selected together. So you first click on the first shape, hold the control key down, click on the second shape. So the two is selected together. Then you right click on any of them. When you right click, a menu will come. Then look for group. Then another menu will pop up. Then I click on group. In this way, it has put the two shapes together as one group. So when I click anywhere, I can move the two of them together. So this is how you can manage. The shapes are plenty. You can put all of them by pressing the control key on the keyboard and click on all of them to select them. Once they are grouped, you can actually move them together. Okay, the next that we have to do from the insert tab under the illustration group is to insert a chart. So these are charts. Let's click where we are going to insert the charts. So let me just choose where I want to insert my chart. Okay, let's say I want to insert my chart here. So I go to charts, click on charts, and then I'll have various type of charts. So I have the pie if I want to, I have the bar if I want to. You can play with it when you have the chance. So if it is bar or columns that I want to insert, there are different types of them that I can insert. Let me just show you something. Let me just click on any and then go to OK. Now, when I insert this shape, it will give me the opportunity to actually edit the shape if I want to. Automatically, an Excel format is generated for me. And I can see category 1, category 2, category 3, category 4. Now, from the shape here, let me just make the shape go down so that we can see the difference between the shape. I can see my other shapes that I selected is conflicting with. Let me delete it for me. So this is the shape we have. So once I click on this shape, I have the option to format the shape as we saw the Excel popping up for us. Okay. So in my case, after deleting the object, I realized that the Excel that was generated for me is no more there. So I will not be able to edit the table. Let me just right click on the table and go to edit data. Edit data. When I do that and click on it, it will bring back the Excel that I had. Now you can see that, as I said, we have category 1, category 2, category 3, category 4, and then they are here. So I can actually edit it and say, let's say, Casford. Casford. So let's say these are scores from, I don't want to use the horse to be in trouble. So let's say boys. And then this one is, the second one is girls. So as soon as I type in the boys and I type in the girls, you realize that the names of the bar chart has changed. Boys, girls. So as I edit from here, it changes it. So don't forget that I have series 1, series 2, series 3. So that's why the bars are 3. So if I decide to click on top of one series and delete it, one of the bars will go. It's left with only 2 bars. So the more I add, I can actually have more bars. So now as it stands now, I have only 2 bars. So I can actually edit the scores here and say I'm giving this one 50. I'm giving this one 30. I'm giving this one 25. And I'm giving this one 40. So as I do so, the bars begin to change. So I've edited for the first bars. Let me edit for the second bars. Let me say 55 here. Let me say 29 here. Let me say 18 here. Let me say 40 here. So as I do so, the bars are changing. So I can actually edit the table or the chart from this point. So you can do so. I can close this chart and come to this side to pick up any item there and play with them. And I can pick any item. So when I select, the design changes. So you can actually manage your chart from here. Whenever you are doing your work, you can actually insert the chart from here. As you know, you go to insert, you come to the illustration group, you go to charts. And then when you click on the chart, then it will give you the opportunity to edit the chart that you have. So when you edit the chart, it will suit the things that you want and put in the necessary information that you want to put in. So this is basically how we can go about editing our chart. So I can edit this title. So if the work has a title, I can click there, delete the title there, and type in the new title. So it will suit the work that I'm doing. So this is the second or the other thing that we can do from the insert group. The same under the insert group, we'll look at how to insert symbols, especially the CD symbol. So let's find a place that we are going to do that. Symbol group is here at the far right. So when I come to the symbol group, when I want to get the CD symbol, for instance, I press Alt on the keyboard. Whilst my finger is still on it, I press the plus sign and 155. So let me just type for you to see. It's Alt plus 155. So that's what we are going to type. Okay, so I press the Alt plus 155. Then it will insert the CD symbol for me. Let me increase the font size so you see the symbol well. So increase the font size. But I know you know how to increase. That's the CD symbol. That's the CD symbol. So when I press Alt plus 155 and I release my hand off the Alt key, it will insert the CD symbol for me. So that's how to get a CD symbol. All right. Not only that, we can also insert other symbols. So I go to actually insert formulas and stuff. So when I go to symbols group and I pick symbols, I can click on the drop down arrow, and any symbol that pops down that I want to use it, the less than, greater than, less than or equal to, all the symbols that you see there, you can pick any of them and then insert them into your work. There are more symbols you can pick by clicking on more. It gives you a variety of symbols that you can select from. So these are a variety of symbols. You can actually scroll up and down to see the symbol that you want to choose, and then you insert that symbol accordingly. All right, so that is under the insert tab. The next item from our work is to move to the design tab, and then from the design tab we are going to go to the background group, insert a watermark, a page color, and a page border. So let's try that. Let's go back to our work and go to the design tab. So this is design tab. I click on it, and then from there I go to the page background group. So I can click on the drop down arrow where I have the watermark, and from here we actually like you to pick the custom watermark, because these ones are watermark they are pre-selected confidential. So we want to go to custom watermark and click on it. So from the custom watermark, we can actually put in what we want to select. So if it's a picture that we want to use as custom watermark, we can click on the picture and then we actually select the picture that we want. So go and click on the picture and come and insert it. So yes, when it opens up for you, you go and look for where the picture is. So from the computer file, you click on it. If you are picking the picture from the internet, you click on it. So you browse to pick where the picture is. But from here, what I'm interested in here is that we want to insert a text watermark. So you can see it has not been selected yet. So when I click on this small round radio button and I select the radio button, it gives me the opportunity to type in what I want to type in. So where we have the text, we have written ASAP, I can actually type my name there. So if it is Nana, I can type the name that I want and come and choose the font type that I want. So any font type that I want to use, I select it from here. So let me search for the font type by typing it in. So Times New Roman is what I want to use. It has come. And from here, I can decide to insert it diagonally or horizontally. Diagonally or horizontally. So when I finish, I go to OK. And you can see the name Nana has been inserted in my document. So it is there diagonally. That's how I chose to insert it. So let's go to the page cover color. Okay, so I go to the page background and click on the page cover. So it means that I can actually give a background color to my work. So from here, I can go for, let me just show you something under the watermark. I can remove the watermark by clicking on it. So when I go to watermark and I go to remove watermark, it will remove the watermark that I have. Okay, I've done this undo, so I've brought it back. Now the page color, I click on it and decide to choose a color for my cover. A color for my cover. So I can actually go for more colors and then pick a color that I want for my cover. So in this way, let me settle on a light blue color. So that's the color that I've picked for this document if I want to pick a color for it. Then I can go to page borders and click on page borders to explore the page borders. So under page borders, let me show you this. Let's say I have done my page cover. So I want the border to be only on the page cover. So under the design tab, I have my page. Sorry, because I selected this, let me just end it and we'll select it again. Okay. So under my design tab, I go to page background and select the page cover that I want. And select the page cover that I want. Okay, so you see that in my work that I was showing you, when I went back to where the tables are, and I want to select my page cover and page borders, it actually didn't allow me to do so because of the tables has taken over. Let me go to a page without the tables. So as soon as I click on a page without the tables, they are active again. So let's say let me just open a new Control N to open a new document. So let's say I have pages. Let's say I have something here. Let me go to the next page. I have something here. So this document has 2 pages. You can see it from down here. That I have 2 pages. Then I go to my cover page. That's where I want to put the border. So I click on the borders. And then from here, I choose the type of border I want. Let's say this is what I want. It has come around my document. Or there are different types of borders you can choose. You can choose any of these if you want to. From the art column, you can choose I prefer this. I prefer any of the lines. So the styles, I want this. Then when I come here, it says the whole document. It means that this is going to apply the cover on the whole document. And that is not what I want. So I come to this side and click on the drop down arrow. Then I say this section or first page only. It means I'm trying to say that the application should be on only my first page, which is my cover page. So I click on that and select OK. So the border is put around only my first page. This is the page 1 and it's not on page 2. So the application of whatever I wanted was done to only page 1. All right. Okay, so let's go back to our course content, what we want to do. So from the design tab, we've done justice to the things on the design tab. Let's go to using the layout tab to select the following. So under the layout tab, we want to use the page setup to insert section breaks. Then using the insert, I want to treat this together. Using the insert tab to select page numbers. So all the rest, I want to put them together and treat it as one. Okay, from this point, let's go back to our document. And then I would want us to open a new page for this new one. So Control N will give me a new document. And then we are going to work on this document. So let's say this document, this is our cover page. This document is our cover page. Then we go to Control Enter. And then we say the next space, page probably is our abstract. Okay, abstract. Okay, let me increase the font size to the document so that we'll know, we can see what we are doing well. Okay, so our abstract. Then let's say in our abstract column, let's have the first page rather to be our table of content. Table of content. So this is going to be our table of content. Control N. Then I go to, let's say, abstract. So abstract. Then let's say in our abstract, I do my equal to rand to generate some text for the abstract. Equal to rand. Let me do 3, let's say 2. So let's say in our abstract column, we have some text there. I go Control Enter to go to the next page and say, let's say this is acknowledgement. Acknowledge. Okay. Acknowledgement, sorry. So acknowledgement to, let me just copy the text that I have under abstract and put it under acknowledgement. Okay, and put it under acknowledgement. Okay. So let's say that's the text I have for acknowledgement. Let me do Control N and enter again, sorry. Control Enter and do my chapter 1. So chapter 1. So this is my chapter 1 under chapter 1 introduction. Okay. Okay, so under chapter 1 introduction. Then let me generate some random text here, equal to rand. This I want to generate more text under the introduction. So I want to do a 9,7 for this. And then I have enough text. So from here, let me go to my chapter 2. Chapter 2. And under chapter 2, have introduction under chapter 2. That's the intro. Then have overview. Overview. Okay, so my overview. And then what I want to do is to copy the text for the chapter 2, chapter 1 text that I generated. I want to have the same text. So I'm copying it. So I highlight it and then go to copy from the clipboard group. Then I scroll down to where I have my chapter 2, click in front of the overview and press enter on the keyboard so I can come to the next line. Then I go to my clipboard group and paste all the document that I copied. So let me make the text. I want my line spacing to be 2.0, or let's say 1 to 1.5. I want justify. I want Times New Roman. I want to do my settings. Okay, so this is what I have for my work. All right. Now let's see how to make sure that we can put our page numbers and then do our table of content from this point. So the rest of the topic is what we have to do. So I've scrolled up to my first page. Down here tells me I have up to 12 pages here. Okay, so the first thing I want to check is that I come to the status bar, which is down here where we have the page numbers and stuff, the number of pages. Now I right click there. Then from here, I see my section is not tick, sections. So section is not tick. I click on section. It says I have only one section. So I click on section and the section is tick. Immediately, so the section is activated at the left corner, left bottom corner. What I want to do is that to make sure that my document is break into sections. Because why? My cover page is supposed to be different. My table of content and acknowledgement is supposed to be different. And the real work is supposed to have a different numbering. So that's what I want to do. To do so, I need to break the document into sections. I want to break the document into sections. So this is what I want to do here. Now, in doing so, this is my cover page. So I click anywhere within the cover page. Then from here, I go to the layout tab and click on it. From the layout tab, I see breaks under the page setup group. So I'll click on a drop down arrow beside it. Then I come to section breaks. Look here, there is page breaks and section break. My interest is in a section break. Don't forget we have activated our sections. So I come here under the section break and click on next page. Next page. As soon as I do that, the insertion point comes down and I can now move this table just a little up one so that I go back to my normal place. Now I can see the section has turned into 2. It says that I have 2 sections now. The sections are now 2. So it means that the cover page has section, and then let's go down. I'll scroll. Table of contents, abstract, and acknowledgement belongs to the same section. They also belong to one section. So I have the cover page as one section, and then the ones I mentioned as the next section. So here, from the chapters will also belong to the same section. So I come to where I want the next section break to come. I click at the end of any text, the last side of the text, in this case, galleries, after the full stop. Then I go to the layout again and come to breaks, click on the drop down arrow, come to the section break and click on next page. So I select next page. So automatically I have sections 3. So when I click in here, I have sections 3. There is a free page that has been opened up here, and I want to use it up. So I move my chapter 1 up to cover that space. So it's covering that space now. So when I click in the chapter 1, it says that that is section 3. When I click anywhere within the acknowledgement, it says that the sections are 2. When I go back to where the cover page is and click there, then the section, that is, I'm in the first section. But in all, the sections are 3. So let me right click in the status bar and go to sections and see. So in the status bar, I am in the first section now. So let's do something. Let's come to Home tab and click on this sign, this symbol here, to tell us what is happening. So the symbol tells us that there's a section break here, then page break. We are interested in a section break when we want to see another section break. Then it tells us there's another section break here. So that is the most important part. We have section breaks now. Now it is time for us to insert our page numbers by inserting the sections. Okay, now let's forget about the cover page and start inserting from the table of content, which is in section 2. So I've clicked anywhere within table of content. Then I go to insert. Then from there, I come to the header and footer group. Then under that, I go to the command page numbers. I click on the drop down arrow beside it. From here, we have to first format the page numbers that we want to use. So we have format page numbers. We click on it. It opens this dialog box for us. What type of page numbers do we want to use from here? In doing our work here, we want the III ones to do. So we click on the drop down arrow beside it and choose the type of page numberings we have. Then from here, we can go and say start at. We want it to start. When I click on start at, automatically it has inserted I for me. So I click on OK. Now let's see what happens wonderfully. So when I click on OK and I scroll down, it seems nothing happened. But something has actually happened. I've chosen the format that I want. So I go back to the header and footer group again, then go and click on page numbers and click on the drop down arrow. This time around, I'm now going to tell the computer where I want him to insert the format that I selected. So I go to bottom of page. And when I go to bottom of page, a lot of other designs open. Where do you want it to be? I want to choose this one because I want it to be exactly in the middle at the bottom. So I click on that. And there, it inserts my page numbers for me. Now, the header and footer group is open. I can choose to double click here to close it, or I can come here and close it. Now, when I close it and scroll down, I have page number I starting from table of content. Then when I come to acknowledgement, I is there. Sorry, when I come to abstract, I is there. Acknowledgement, I. These 3 belongs to one section. So let's see when we go to the next section what happened. When we came to the chapter 1, which is another section, it gave me the number 4. It didn't continue with the II because it remembered that there is a section break. After applying those III, it gets to the next page, which is in a different section. It gave me normal numbering. But I don't want to start from number 4 from here. I don't want to. Now let's scroll to the top and see what happened to our cover page. In our cover page, it inserted the number 1. It means that the system is counting the pages and inserting for us because the cover page is on a different section. So it didn't give it the I, but I gave it the number 1. Just forget about it. Let's continue down. So I have my II, everything inserted. It's okay. Then I come to my chapter 1. When I come to my chapter 1, this is where I want to change the numberings that I have here. Okay, so let's see what to do. Click on the chapter 1. and then go back to insert. And then let's come to the header and footer group and go for page numbers, page number. Then come and format the type of numberings I want. Remember, I have clicked inside the third section. That is where I have my chapter 1. If you don't get, let's look at it. This is chapter 1. So when I click there, I am actually in the third section. You can see the sections are 3 now. So once I have clicked anywhere within the section 3 where I want to do a different numbering, I can now go to insert, come to header and footer, click on page numbers, and now come and format the page numbers that I want by clicking on it. So from here, I want the 1, 2, 3. And this time around, I want the 1, 2, 3. So that is what I want. But I want it to start at. Then I click on it. It puts 1 there. So as soon as I click on OK, it changes the numbering from the chapter 1, making it 1, 2, 3. Then on and on and on, it is giving me the numbers that I want. Let me go up to the other section and see where I have my acknowledgement. So this one is still maintained the I. I have the I here. I'm going up, so I have the I here. Now the problem is now with my cover page. It has given it number 1. I don't want that to happen. So what do I do? Let's see what happens. Okay, so this is what we are going to do. Just double click on the 1 at the cover page, the one that's the number that has given you. Double click on it. It will open up this page for you. Just try to delete it. Use the backspace. Click on the backspace to delete. If it's not going, just use the delete key to delete it. I pressed on the delete key several times. It deleted it for me. Now let me close my header and footer. As soon as I deleted the number, the cover page doesn't have any numbering. But let me go down and see. It has taken my numbering off the table of contents and then the acknowledgement and those things. So let me just come back to where my table of content is. Click there and go back to insert, header and footer. Just follow me. Page numbers, and now go and say format page numbers. The I is there already. Start at, it says I. And I go to OK. Nothing seems to happen. Okay, don't panic. Go back to the table. Go back to the page numbers again. Click. And let's go to the bottom of the table and insert. Now my I comes. Now look here. As soon as it's inserted again, this option link to previous has come. It means that in a way, my number is still linked to the previous. The previous is the table of the cover page at the top. So just click on link to previous. Just click on it and it goes. Then you can now close whatever came. Now go back again. The 1 has come, but don't worry. I is here. I is here. I is here. So my other number is nothing affected. It's always intact. Let me go back to my cover page where I have the 1. So I double click on the 1 this time around and I go back to delete it. So I press on the delete key 1, 2, it deleted it. Now this time let's see the magic. After deleting it, because I click on link to previously, now my numbering for my other pages, table of contents, I is there, I is there, and then sorry, I always say I is there, and I is there. Then I have my other pages starting from 1. So I have been able to insert the numberings that I want for the table of content down, and the cover page, there is no numbering on it again. Fair. So from this point, we want to insert our table of contents, right? Okay, this is what we are going to do. Now let's come to the abstract. Click on the abstract and say, I've clicked on the abstract. Just watch. Then from the home tab, we go to styles. Then we are going to pick heading styles for the things that we have. So the heading style, you can see heading 1, heading 2, and more will open up as we go. So let's go to heading 1. Right click on heading 1, right click, and choose modify. So we want to set up the heading 1. Now the color for the heading 1 is blue. I don't want the blue color. So from here, I click on the drop down arrow and click black. I want the color to be black. I want to use the Times New Roman. So where the everything Calibri light, I click on it and choose Times New Roman. Beautiful. The font size is 16. I want it that way. From here, I click on OK. So now I can now click on my abstract and select heading 1 for abstract. Select heading 1 for abstract. Okay, so my abstract is now heading 1. Now let me go to my acknowledgement and choose heading 1 for acknowledgement. Okay. Now let me go to scroll down again to my chapter 1. So click on chapter 1 and choose heading 1 by clicking on heading 1. Let me click on my introduction and give the introduction heading 2. Don't forget that we have not formatted the heading 2 yet. So once we are going to heading 2, we right click on heading 2, then we go to modify. We choose the same black color for it. I want the color to be black. I want the font to be Times New Roman, and I want the font size to be 12. So I choose font size 12 and I click on OK. So my introduction is now heading 2. Okay. Now let me go down to where I have chapter 3. So chapter 3, let me push my chapter 3 down. It's supposed to be on the next page, on a fresh page. Okay. So I select chapter 2, heading 1. I'm giving the chapter 2 the heading 1. The introduction, I'm giving it heading 2. Then the overview, I'm giving it heading 3. So let me right click on heading 3 and go to modify. So I'm choosing it for the first time. Let me maintain that color there and then change the font name to Times New Roman and click on OK. Now let me click on my overview and apply heading 3 to it. So this is what I have so far as my document. So I've applied the formatting style. Now let me go to where I want to insert my table of contents. Okay, I'm scrolling up to where I want to insert my table of contents. So this is my table of content. I can now delete this because when it inserted, it will write the word table of content for me. So I click there, and this time around, I have to go to references, the tab called references, and click on it. As soon as I choose references, at the left side, the group, table of content group, I go to table of content. I click on the drop down arrow to choose the type of content I want to insert. Now I want to go for automatic table 2 and click on it. As soon as I did, it has inserted my table of content for me. It has inserted my table of content for me. Let me just see. This is my table of content. So because I selected the abstract acknowledgement to be 1, see the way the format has become. Chapter 2, they are all lining up. The introduction comes under the chapter 1 because I said the introduction is heading 2. The chapter 2 is also here. The introduction comes under the chapter 2, and the overview has been indented, knowing that something has happened to that's heading 3. Now let's look at what is going to happen, our last activity. Let me just copy the text, so any text from here. I'm going to use it for something else. Let me copy it. Just go to copy and copy it and scroll down and scroll down. So when I finish my work and I want to insert my table of content, I don't have to. Let me just go down, enter, comes to the next page and go for chapter 3. Let's say chapter 3 and see introduction. And then let's say methodology. Okay, let's go for methodology. This is what I have for chapter 3. Let me press enter and insert the text, or let's say click on paste to insert the text that I have under chapter 3. Now look at this. Let me now select the chapter 3 and say that is heading 1. The introduction, click on it and say heading 2 and click on methodology. I've actually clicked on methodology and say chapter heading 3. Now I've already done my table of content. I've added more content to it. So what do? Remember, I've gone to apply the styles to it. The styles are the heading styles, heading 1, heading 2, heading 3. So it is now time for me to update. Let me scroll up quickly from what the table of content is. Only up to chapter 2, but I've done chapter 3. All that I have to do is to go back to references tab, click on it, and come to table of content group. Then I go to update table. I click on update table, and it asks me update entire table. See, update page numbers only. That is not what I want. I select update entire table. I click on update entire table and I go to OK. As soon as I do that, chapter 3 has now been inserted and my table has been updated. So this is the last item on what we are supposed to learn for week 3. Thank you very much. So you can try your hands on it at home by taking your time to watch the video and then practicing over and over again. You will be able to do it successfully. Thank you very much.